Enter for a chance to win an awesome prize every week. All you gotta do is be subscribed and like my videos. For more information, check the description box below. This video is sponsored by Fanatic.dk.
What is going on, guys? DrJo here with another magic video. Today we're opening an Hour of Devastation pre-release pack. And we're gonna try and build a little bit of a deck right here. I'm not so strong in the new cards yet, since I haven't checked out the spoilers. I haven't done anything besides looking at the mythic versions of some cards and some pretty, special god cards or that kind of thing. But nothing too crazy in the uncommons or commons or even the rare cards. So I pretty much know as much as you do, so we're just gonna try and, do our thing with this one, and hopefully it'll get awesome. So before I start the video, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more magic videos. Alright, you guys, so let's pop up this baby and see the new cool Hour of Devastation packs. And hopefully we can pull one of the awesome cards in this one and build us a pretty sweet deck. So let's see here. You get this one. Yeah, it's basically, just the cover art. And you get this sweet box. Looking very majestic. Are you supposed to... Yeah, you're actually supposed to do it like this. There we go. So, and what do we get inside? We get something that I can't... What the... Oh, yeah. It's been a long time. So, we have this awesome die. Very cool. It's a nice dice. 20-sided die. And we get the 5 hours. And I believe that's something you can do to get something at your local store, I believe. Yeah, it could be. And then we get our pre-release foil, which is DrJo with eyes open. Yeah, so let's try and check out this card for a bit. He could be pretty cool, so let's just check him out right here. So, he is a 4/3 for 2 white and 3 of any color. He has vigilance. And when he enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a Planeswalker card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. That's a pretty good effect, I would say. And if a source would deal damage to a Planeswalker you control, prevent 1 of that damage. Yeah, that's all right, I guess. He's pretty good, but he's nothing, too crazy. Wouldn't expect anything. So we have a little bit of a mini poster or something like that. Yeah, it's basically just a little bit of a story put into here, and then you have your recipe of building a sealed deck. So the most successful sealed decks are 2 colors and have exactly 40 cards, including 17 to 18 lands. And then there's a creature type, and there's a creature count and a non-creature spells count. So yeah. That's pretty cool, I would say. It's actually pretty nifty that they keep those in. So, we should start with the Amonkhet packs and then leave Bolas packs for last, I would say. Yeah, let's do that. And when we go through these, we're gonna try and spot if we're gonna be a certain, color for our deck. Just put this dice on here. So our rare is Shadow of the Grave, and then we have a couple uncommons. We have Vizier of Remedies, actually a pretty good white card, goes well with the DrJo, and we have a red and black Merciless Javelineer, and we have a Protection of the Heckma. Yeah, okay, so we're going to decide what we are afterwards. Let's just check these. That's a good one. I'm gonna go over everything that we get in these packs. When we're done opening them, we're gonna sort the colors, and we're gonna make sure that we know exactly what colors we're going to play. A full art swamp, And we have Approach of the Second Sun. So yeah, we're most likely not gonna play this card because, yeah. Well, we could, but I wouldn't recommend it. At least I don't think I would. We'll have to see, but we have gotten some pretty strong white cards right up to now. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen any of these packs lately, but this is gonna be pretty amazing. Can't wait to open these, see what's inside. So, a foil swamp. Swamp, mother, swamp. Yeah, we're starting off pretty good. And we have a plains. Let's put that over here. That's so beautiful. Amid Eternal. You know, I saw this card on Wizards or Magic's Facebook the other day. I actually think it's a pretty good card, you know? I kind of like it. It's a fairly aggressive card, but it's also a pretty good card. Yeah, so... yeah, I don't know about that one. It's pretty alright. And this one is actually also pretty good. It would seem like we're going to play... let me just get these right here. There we go. Would seem like we're playing white-black, but not sure yet. We got some pretty good blue and green cards as well so far. So nothing is, again, for certain, as everything always most likely isn't, but we're gonna check our pool after this. And we have a Earthshaker Kenra. That is actually a pretty good red creature right there. Not gonna lie to you guys. We would be building a fairly aggressive white, red, black deck, but I think it's kind of over the top to, you know, splash something just to make it, you know, even more dimwitty. Scrounger of Souls. I don't know about this card, you know. It doesn't seem too great, but I could be wrong. Oh my god!
Run.
Wow, holy! I'm done. What? He has returned. And he brings us very good cards. And now I don't even know what I wanna... If this happened at my pre-release, regardless of what I got, I would play Nicol Bolas. No doubt in my mind. And we're gonna try to build a deck, but wow. When you're opening this, you're not expecting to see him. You're just gonna be like, man, would that be cool? Yeah, I actually think that would be kind of cool. Wow. Huh. Okay. Well, not too shabby. So, you guys, for the last pack, Kefnet's Last Word. You know, this is actually an alright card, you know, but it requires so much of you. You know, you have to sacrifice everything in order to play it. Like, they need to have some pretty ridiculous creature for you to make it, you know, at least worthwhile. So, you guys, let me just check these cards, see if we... oh my god, I screwed that up, didn't I? Yeah, I did. There we go. Let me check these cards, let me put them into piles, color sort them, everything, and then we will go over what I chose and why I chose that, and what other possibilities of deck building that I could have gone into if I didn't pull Bolas. I know it might not be the best, you know, deck archetype in here, but if you were at a pre-release and you pull this card and you're not gonna draft it, you're not gonna play it in your sealed deck, no chance. I'm gonna play Bolas, I don't care. So, be right back in one sec, guys, and we'll check it out. So, we're back, guys, and I built this deck. So, Mainly because of Nicol Bolas right here, I chose to go into blue and black, which is a pretty good good control archetype for Magic. And then I splashed red, just for, you know, a little bit more removal and also a bit of late and early game. You know, I got an early game card that can turn into a late game card, which is pretty nice. So let's just check what we got here. So let's start out with the 2-drops of the deck. So I chose to play Seeker of Insight. His tap ability is draw a card, then discard a card. There's a lot of the discard, draw a card, return cards theme in this deck, which is pretty good for a control deck, I would say. And this can only be activated if you cast a non-creature spell this turn, and this is a control deck, so there's going to be a bit of spells and non-creature spells. So, but he's a 1/3 for 2 mana, which is pretty nifty against most aggressive decks, I would say. So we also have Miasmic Mummy. When it enters the battlefield, each player discards a card. It's going to be real good with the other cards that I have in this deck. You'll just wait and see. But this is pretty much just a 2/2 for 2, but the effect can be pretty good at some point in the game. So we have Kenra Eternal, and the ability here is pretty much, you know, afflict 1, and when it becomes blocked, the defending player loses 1 life. It's not really that special. It's pretty much just a body for 2, which is, you know, it's pretty good. So this was the card that I was talking about, you guys. It has haste, and when it enters the battlefield, target creature with power less than or equal to this card's power can block this turn, which is, it's kind of weird for a control deck, but it chose it because it has this Eternalize mechanic that you can use so that you can create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie Shackle Warrior, so you can use it in the late game as well, which I thought was pretty nifty. So then we also have this one. This is pretty much a vanilla creature, a 2/2 for 2, but we need a lot of 2/2s to stay alive to get to our pretty good cards. So let's go over the 3-drops right here, guys. We have a Seer of the Last Tomorrow. It has the ability to tap and then add 1 blue mana or pay 1 blue mana. Discard a card, and target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, which I thought was pretty good. I mean, it's kind of a way to put pressure on your opponent, and that ability isn't that much of a cost, since I'll show you a spell card or a non-creature spell that I have in this deck, which goes pretty well with this one. But it's a 1/4 for 3 mana, which I think is, you know, it's pretty good. So we also have Eternal of Harsh Truths. It's a 1/3 for 3, nothing too special, but the Afflict ability I found was actually pretty good, that when it attacks and it isn't blocked, it gets you to draw a card. I think it's pretty good. I mean, card draw is pretty good, and it's also pretty, it's an alright blocker. It's nothing too crazy, but the ability is pretty good, I think. So this one, Amit Eternal. There's a lot of zombie theme going on, and there's going to be a lot of zombie synergy, so I pretty much like that about this deck. But this one has Afflict 3. It means whenever this creature becomes blocked, the defending player loses 3 life, which is pretty good. It's also 5/5 and 3, which is pretty powerful. But whenever an opponent casts a spell, you have to put a -1/-1 counter on Amit Eternal. It's kind of hard to play against an aggressive deck, but they have to play like 5 spells in order for them to kill it. So you will at least be able to get 1 block in, I think. And whenever it deals combat damage, you can just remove those counters. So it's kind of like a big body, but it's also kind of a card that puts a lot of pressure on your opponent from the get-go, even though it is a control deck. Another zombie creature right here. It's just a 3/3 for 3, nothing too crazy, but it can't block unless I control another zombie creature. So that's why I have the whole zombie theme going. It's pretty much just a 3/3 for 3, but you need that in this sort of style of deck. So for the 4 drops of this deck, you guys, we have only 2. It's the Gravedigger, and when it enters the battlefield, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, which is, you know, pretty nifty, but it's just a 2/2 for 4. So you would most likely use this when you needed to get back a creature from the graveyard. You can play it as a 2/2, but it's not that good. So it's kind of where the synergy between the discarding cards relies. So yeah, I'd say it's pretty good. Merciless Javelier is also, you can discard a card and you can put a -1/-1 counter on target creature, and that creature can block this turn. It's kind of an aggressive card, and I know that, but it's also just a 4/2 for 4, which is alright. It's nothing too crazy, but I need a 4-drop. And now that we get to the more expensive cards right here, we can see that we have the Ominous Sphinx. It's a flying 5, 2 blue and a 3 colorless, and it's a 4/4. And whenever you cycle or discard a card, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-0 until end of turn, which is also, you know, it's a pretty good body and it has flying, so all right for the mana cost, I would say. Shimmering Scale Drake is also the kind of card where you can cycle, but it's also just a 3/4 flying creature for 5, which is all right. I mean, flying is always good. And then we have, for 6 mana, Angler Drake. Also has flying, and it's a 4/4, but when it enters the battlefield, you may return target creature to its owner's hand, which is a pretty huge tempo swing in my opinion. It's actually one of the best, if not the best, uncommon in this set, in blue, I actually think. So that's pretty good. We have Traveler's Amulet, and this card is pretty much just in here to get the red mana that I need for the bolas and the couple of red creatures and spells that we have in this deck. So we have 2 unsummon cards in this deck, and this is a huge tempo swing as well in the late game. It's also pretty good in the early game, not too great in the early game, but in the end game it's going to be pretty insane. And this card is why I chose to put all those discard and cycle cards in here. It's because it returns to your hand all creatures in your graveyard. I mean all cards in your graveyard that you cycled or discarded this turn. So for the 3-drop spells, we have Tragic Lesson, and it allows you to draw 2 cards at instant speed for 3 mana, 1 blue, 2 colorless, and then discard a card unless you return a land you control to its owner's hand. It's kind of a tempo swing, but it's kind of not, but I would prefer to discard the card and then get it back with Shadow of the Grave if I could. Really depends if you actually need that card that you discard. Otherwise, you would just, you know, return the land in. Then it's not going to be that huge of a tempo swing, but you at least draw 1 card. You actually get to draw 2, but when you lose the land, it's kind of like draw 1 card and then don't do anything on the turn. So it's actually not that great of a card, but it can be if you just choose to discard a card, I would say. So Open Fire, it deals 3 damage to target creature or player, just a nifty removal, or if I needed the last 3 damage just to kill something. Oh, that's pretty good. Kefna's Last Word, I was pretty, you know, on the fence with this one, because actually not untapping any of my lands during my next untap step is kind of a big thing. I can gain control of target creature, artifact, or enchantment, which is pretty powerful, but it's only going to be powerful in the late game. In the early game, if I chose to do this, I would be, you know, pretty much behind on 1 turn, and that wouldn't be, you know, so great. But I feel like this card is so good, even at sorcery speed, it's actually pretty good. So, you know, you can't just, you know, swap the cards if you don't like it. Final Reward is just exile target creature for 5 mana. It costs a lot, but you're gonna have to use that. Not much you can do. So I chose these 3 lands to put in here. I chose the Ipnu Rivulet. It adds colorless mana to your mana pool, and you can pay 1 life to add blue mana to your mana pool, which is pretty good. And then you can sacrifice this card, and then target player puts the top 4 cards of his or her library into the graveyard. So it's actually kind of a good thing in the late game. If you have a lot of mana that you can't use anything on, then you can use it on this, which is, you know, always pretty good. And then you can do the same to these 2. You can just start cycling lands. And the good thing about this is actually because I play the most blue in this deck, I actually think. I even play more blue than I play black, which means that these can easily just, you know, be cycled to draw a card and then get into more blue mana. And then I can go in for the black, I can find the red, and everything that I need. So I would say that this deck is pretty well rounded. Of course, Bolas is going to be one of our bombs, if not the biggest bomb. I mean, if we can get this card on the field and actually protect it. I mean, I even splashed red just to play that guy. He's insane, and if you open him at your pre-release, you should definitely also consider playing him. We did open this card as well, and I was like, well, I got Bolas, so I'm gonna play Bolas. There would be some kind of red, green, maybe a white green or white red, something like that in this. You could splash a lot of colors, but I feel like if you get Bolas, you have to play him. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you all do well at your pre-releases this weekend. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow, because I'm gonna open another of these pre-release packs and we're gonna try and make another deck, and I'll see if we can make that as epic as this Bolas blue, black, red control deck. But until I see you next time, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Magic videos, and I'll see you next time. Stay awesome, guys.